It's just an interesting one I'd like to throw to Simon. Has he got any recollection? I mean, this year we've lost 8 managers already this season out of our 20.
And it would be a surprise.
I've just looked through to see Simon when he was there. Interesting. What surprised me was that Simon was only an owner of a Premier League club for 1 season out of those 10 years. I was surprised. I thought you were a Premier League owner.
It's like
all the way through.
It's like being an invincible team and only play 4 games, isn't it?
I actually played 10. And I was 38 years of age at the time, so I'm quite proud of that.
We can all make facetious comments, can't we?
Well, it's a fact. So I'm just looking to see, do you got any recollection of any managers you sacked in that period?
To what end?
Well, it's just interesting.
What recollections you want? Do they deserve the sack? Was I sad about it?
Looking at the list of clubs.
This could descend into a studio.
Well, I'm just looking, Jim, because obviously when this subject came up, I thought I'd try and enlarge it and let's go into different areas and see it. Palace have actually,
well, enlarge it the other side of the break. We're coming up to 10:30.
Oh, you're going to stop me now. You're going to protect your partner, are you? Okay, that's okay. We'll come back afterwards.
Martin Keown, Arsenal Invincible Martin Keown is with us this morning. Nottingham Forest, Martin. The new boys back in the Premier League, of course, under Steve Cooper. And they had it tough to start with. Does it surprise you now that you hear this morning that many top clubs could well be interested in the talent of Steve Cooper once this season is over? Because Forest reportedly facing a fight to keep Cooper at the club ahead of next season. Number of managerial jobs set to come up by the end of the season. Cooper, we hear, already being identified by clubs as a target. Brighton might be on the lookout for a new boss, with big interest in De Zerbi. Tottenham, we don't know what's going to happen at Tottenham. We certainly don't know what's going to happen at Chelsea, West Ham, Southampton, or Leeds. So Cooper, Martin, is very much in the spotlight. Does that surprise you?
It does surprise me. I think we were talking earlier, weren't we, about topics. You've asked me to do a list of topics that we should concentrate today when I questioned maybe was this worthy of a topic. I just feel that Steve Cooper needs to concentrate on what's important, that's keeping Forest up. Any talk of going to another club to take on something else is premature discussion, Jim. There's enough work to do this season. It's interesting, I looked at the first 12 games.
It's relevant discussion, though, you'd have to say that, because...
It's only relevant if they stay up.
He is very much in the conversation at other clubs.
Well, they've lost 2 of the last 3 games. They started the season, after 12 games, they only had 8 points. So it was really difficult. They went away, he worked with the team, lots of players, World Cup. After the World Cup, Jim, they've done all right, 9 games, 12 points. So it's a big improvement. But now it's starting to slip a little bit again. So it's this merry-go-round of managers. I mean, De Zerbi is another one, isn't he, at Brighton, doing an incredible job. Is it the good work, though, of Potter that he had in place for many years? So we need to give these managers time. But no, I think. And
that's what Forest have done, isn't it?
They've
extended his contract.
Well, it was unbelievable. They gave him a contract at that point, because at that point I think they only had 1 win from the first 6 games of the season. So everyone was kind of bemused at why that happened. But it was a very good move. I think really some loyalty will be apparent. I don't see that Steve Cooper will be leaving Forest anytime soon, Jim. And I feel it's only just speculation.
Well, it is speculation, but the speculation's real, Simon, because he's caught the eye. Chris Herring, a friend of mine who's a big Forest fan, just getting in touch. Jim, we know about it. Hands off Steve Cooper. They're aware of it.
Well, I mean, Martin's right to suggest that there should be some reciprocation in terms of the loyalty. I do think it was right for Nottingham Forest to have given him a new contract because, quite frankly, he dragged them out of a division after 23 years of being away from the Premier League. He took them from where Chris Hughton had left them, which was bottom of the Championship, put them into the Premier League, something similar to what Ian Dowie did, but I don't think it was as divisive and difficult to work with as Ian Dowie was. So he deserved the opportunity that he got to be in the Premier League. He came in with this backdrop of an irresponsible owner being... This is what was put out there, buying players left, right and centre, which he wasn't involved in, and all of that. And I think if you know your manager and you believe in your manager, when a moment comes when the conventional thinking in football says, oh, you're in trouble, and you do something different, what you then do is you galvanise that manager. You make him more appreciative of the environment he is, and he goes the extra 10%. Now, that may well have already been coming. It may well have already been forthcoming anyway, but you do something against the norm, and then you get something back. Now, is he a potential manager for the future? Yeah. But I don't think he needs to I don't think he, in terms of bigger football clubs, I don't think he needs to leave Nottingham Forest anytime soon. Because, first of all, the guy that owns the football club is remarkably committed. He's just converted another 50 million quid's worth of loans into equity, which is the same thing in different guys, but notwithstanding it shows an indication that he's more committed to the football club than wanting to get paid out by selling it. The guy's already told everybody, told you, in a very emotive outburst after winning the playoff final against Huddersfield, I want to win things with this football club. That's the owner. So he's laid his little stake down.
Yeah.
So now you've got a situation where he's gone and spent an inordinate amount of money to get into the Premier League in terms of staying in the Premier League with 23, 24 players, 150 million quid of a spend, which we've seen before with other football clubs like Fulham that haven't worked out. But Cooper is a decent manager. So whilst people will look at him, whenever you have a decent manager doing a decent job in a difficult situation, other people are going to look at him with covetous eyes.
And you would do, Simon, if you say you were still at top of a club at the moment, elsewhere, he would catch your eye.
Well, of
because
course.
you'd be aware of what he's doing.
How much reality is in this, and how much speculation, how much fear factor, and how much projection of what people think. The bottom line is he signed a new contract with Nottingham Forest. I would expect him to remember the fact that he was given an opportunity with Nottingham Forest. He took it with both hands. He's done a very good job, and now he's been rewarded for it by some loyalty at a time when most football club owners would turn the other cheek and turn away.
Yeah.
So with all that in mind, I would suspect if they can survive this season, which I think they probably will, and the next game coming up is a very important game. It's a defining game, I think, because if they lose to Everton, they get themselves dragged right back into it. And if Everton lose, the questioning about Sean Dyche is going to start coming up a notch or two. So here we are in very significant, intriguing times. But
all
I
those
think
players,
Steve Cooper is a good manager.
with all those players that they bought, Jim, it's still Johnson who's their best player. They bought 30 players. So you look at the quality. Is the quality really good enough to keep them up? Their home form. They're 9th in the Premier League with their home form. They're bottom away form.
Well, they've scored the least amount of goals for an away side in the entire English football leagues, haven't they? I.e. professional leagues.
Everton are doing pretty well in that area. They've only scored 17 goals all season, Jim.
Which makes the 2:00 kickoff on Sunday so important for both.
Massive.
Forest up against Everton. Do you think they'll survive, Martin? Forest?
I think we're going to find out in the next 4 or 5 weeks, Jim, because this game itself is defining. If Everton can win this, they've got a point behind. And Forest start again looking over their shoulder when it looked like they'd scrambled out of trouble. Their home form is really important for them. They get nothing away from home. So, I mean, if you look at the start of the season, Jim, I think the team that started the first 11, the first game, the one that played last week, I think there's about 8 changes. And there's 3 they've changed the system completely. So you think about that. It's been really difficult for the manager to get the right players on the pitch, the people he can trust in. But from an Everton point of view this weekend, Calvert-Lewin, whatever they're doing with it, he's got to be on the pitch. Without him, I don't see they're going to score the necessary goals, Jim. If they continue as they are, scoring goals the number they are, they're only going to get 26 goals. And no team has ever stayed up with that number of goals. It's that critical for Everton this weekend to start hitting the back of the net.
To go to the Cooper question, there are only certain clubs in the Premier League that are bigger than Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest's achievements are quite remarkable. And I've been at that football club and watched that fan base and seen it at times and seen how focused that fan base can be. And if you're going to put Brighton in the conversation, Nottingham Forest, in my view, and I hate the argument who's a bigger club or who's not a bigger club because it's all subjective, if he's got an owner that's prepared to commit behind him in the same way Tony Bloom was prepared to commit behind Brighton, and Brighton didn't pull up trees in their first seasons in the Premier League, they just stayed up by the skin of their teeth. So if Forest stay up with an owner that's got the ambition he has, having learnt the lessons, they brought a bottom mountain of players. Next year, they'll buy better players, different players, Premier League players that'll be more ready for purpose. Steve Cooper will have a year's worth of experience. They stay up. Nottingham Forest is a very, very good football club to stay at for some significant period of time, by the way.
Sure. And as Greg, I think, is a Forest fan, is pointing out, other clubs might be interested in Cooper, but he hasn't made any noises about looking to leave. Signed a new deal in October, and we expect him to stay. He loves it at Forest. I think it's a good match, Sam, to be honest, Martin. I think Cooper and Forest are a match that could lead to something, that could lead to success further down the line. They need to stay in the Premier League.
Of course they do. Concentrate on your job. I mean, the thing is, the Spurs job now, you look, Conte's contract's up in the summer, you've got David Moyes, the fans, they'll always be discontent by the West Ham fans. I love that way of banter with them because they're never happy. You've got Chelsea, Potter. I mean, it's a calamity right now, isn't it? So, are they going to change their manager? And Southampton, again, maybe, are they going to climb out of trouble? Maybe they're looking for a new manager. So there are jobs around him. I think
Southampton are going to get relegated.
I
He's not going to go to Chelsea. He's not going to go to Tottenham.
Should be staying where he is.
Yeah.
It's just an interesting one I'd like to throw to Simon. Has he got any recollection? I mean, this year we've lost 8 managers already this season out of our 20.
And been surprised.
I just looked through to see Simon when he was there. Interesting. What surprised me was that Simon was only an owner of a Premier League club for 1 season out of those 10 years. I was surprised. I thought you were a Premier League owner.
It's like
all the way through.
It's like being an invincible team and only play 4 games, isn't it?
I actually played 10. And I was 38 years of age at the time, so I'm quite proud of that.
We can all make
achievement.
facetious comments, can't we?
Well, it's a fact. So I'm just looking to see, do you got any recollection of how many managers you sacked in that period?
To what end?
Well, it's just interesting.
What recollections you want? Do they deserve the sack? Was I sad about it?
Looking at the list of clubs.
This could descend into a studio.
Well, I'm just looking, Jim,
because
obviously when this subject came up, I thought I'd try and enlarge it and let's go into different areas and see it. Palace have actually,
well,
since
enlarge
the
it to the
millennium.
other side of the break. We're coming up to 10:30.
Oh, you're going to stop me now. You're going to protect your partner, are you? Okay, that's okay. We'll come back afterwards. There's no charity this morning here, is there? Let's come back after the break, Jim.
What you don't have to observe, because it's not part of your job, is the times you've got to hit. So at 10 o'clock there's a break, and at 10:30 is a break, and thereafter 11:30, 11 o'clock, 12:30, 12 o'clock. That's how it goes. So it's a break at 10:30.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.